me where my stones are. Show me where my slingshot is. Show me where the power is. If our prayer is just where we go to let God know what we need, then we miss the opportunity to really be in connection to see what God needs from us. Because sometimes we're just praying because we want relief from what's happening. God, you don't have to relieve me if you will give me insight into how to show up. And you can't stay stuck there because he's created an appetite for transformation. Got a taste of what could happen when I surrendered myself. Now I can't go back. Acts 10, verse 9 through 19. Peter is going about doing the work that God told him to do in Acts 1. He's fulfilling the Great Commission. And in the process of fulfilling the Great Commission, God sends a vision to him that almost looks like it is in contradiction with what he's supposed to be doing, because he's trying to give him insight into what God wants to happen in the earth now. God is bringing Peter into a place of expansion. And the expansion looks like it's detraction, but he doesn't understand that it's not detraction, that it's not random, that it's not slowing his momentum, but instead it is actually adding increase to what he is already doing. Acts 10 and 9 says, the next day, as they went on their journey and drew near the city, Peter went up on the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. Then he became very hungry and wanted to eat. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven open and an object like a great sheet bound at the four corners, descending to him and let down to the earth. In it were all kinds of four-footed animals of the earth and wild beasts, creeping things, and birds of the air. And a voice came to him, rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything common or unclean. I can't do what you're asking me to do. I've never done it before. It would break the rules of my culture to do it. It would go up against everything I know in order to do that very thing that God has called me to do. But God is calling him to do it anyway. And a voice spoke to him again the second time. What God has cleansed, you must not call common. This was done 3 times. And the object was taken up into heaven. Now, while Peter wondered within himself what this vision which he had seen meant, behold, the men who had been sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate. And they called and asked whether Simon, whose surname was Peter, was lodging there. While Peter thought about the vision, the Spirit said to him, behold, 3 men are seeking you. Arise, therefore, go down and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them. This was the first stages of the church. And when Peter is first positioned to be the rock in which Jesus is going to build his church on, he initially thinks that he is only called to the lost sheep of Israel. He's only called to those who are of Jewish heritage. That means that his distinction, his focus in what he is doing in the earth has one specific group. This moment in the text, though, is when God takes that vision and begins to expand it to make room for the next dimension of what God wants to do. God doesn't give us the full detail on the plan that he has for our lives. God only gives us hints. He only gives us clues. Sometimes God only gives us enough to get it started, because if he gave us the full details, we would say no and never get moving. But sometimes he says, I'm just going to give you enough to get you in position so that you're too far ahead of where you used to be to go back, and you can't stay stuck there because he's created an appetite for transformation. You see, there are some people in this room who are in this room because they have an appetite for transformation. I got a taste of what God could do. I got a taste of what can happen when I let God use me. Got a taste of what could happen when I surrendered myself. Now I can't go back. Now I'm hanging on every word that proceeds out of his mouth, because every word is my instruction for what I need to do next. Peter's further out than he ever thought he would be. For him, that is growth. Oh God, there's somebody in this room and you're already further out than than any member of your family has ever been. And for someone, you should be satisfied with where you are, but God keeps giving you vision that there's something else left. There's something more connected to who you are. I know everyone else would be satisfied if they made it this far, but I'm crazy enough to believe that God left me in this world because there is yet more for me to do, and I would give up, but I keep giving vision. I didn't have vision until I saw you walk through that door, but now that I've seen you walk through the door, I know that it's possible. You better be careful when you're connected to someone who has vision. They start thinking crazy things, and you start saying, how did you see that? Oh, I saw it in my sleep. I saw it when I went into prayer. I didn't see it on social media. God deposited something in my spirit that made me crazy enough to believe that the vision was meant to become a reality. I don't know who you are, but I want you to know you're not crazy. God, every time I close my eyes, I still see it. What is it that you want to do with this vision? What am I that I should have access to what you want to see happen? And I hear God saying, I gave you access to what cannot be seen in this time, but what is coming in time. You can't see it right here, but if I gave you a vision, it's because it's to be manifested. When Peter receives this vision, he's in a posture of prayer. There is a posture that we must assume if we want to tap into God's vision. If our prayer is just where we go to let God know what we need, then we miss the opportunity to really be in connection to see what God needs from us. We miss the opportunity to be in connection to receive the insight for what this season is. Because sometimes we're just praying because we want relief from what's happening. But it takes something powerful to say, God, you don't have to relieve me from what's happening if you will give me insight into how to show up into what's happening. Instead of asking God to back that battle up off of me, I've been learning that my greatest weapon is to say, God, help me to understand what the battle is trying to bring out of me. Help me to understand who I need to be to show up in this marriage. Help me to see who I need to be in order to write this book, in order to build this business, in order to break this generational curse. God, give me insight into why you chose me. God, I want to see it the way you see it. I don't want to be so caught up in my hindsight that I can't get insight. The only thing that matters is now. So God, who do I need to be in this moment? God, why would you allow me to be up against this giant unless this giant has my name on it? Show me where my stones are. Show me where my slingshot is. Show me where the power is. Show me where the peace is in the middle of the storm. Show me where the joy is in the middle of this grief. God, if you put me in it, you've got insight into how I can show up. Help me see it, God. Help me believe it, God. Help me to rise up to it. Help me to step into it, God. Give me insight, God. What's in me, God? What's in me for what's happening outside of me? What's in me for what you want to do through me, God? What gifts, what talents, what words, what memories, what experience will release your glory? You know why you need insight? Because insight is the clue that releases glory. You know why you need glory? Because the only way that we're going to go up against what's happening in this world is if we get a few crazy people who are willing to release glory. So God, show me where the glory is. Show me where you're moving. Show me how you're speaking in this season. Show me.